Hey everybody, it's Dr. Eric Balkoucher back for another edition of Thyroid Thursday. And today we're talking about how your habits can shape your health, especially your thyroid health. So habits, behaviors, routines, they may make or break your ability to get healthy and get well. They may make or break the ability for your thyroid medication to actually work appropriately. They may make or break your ability to recover from a thyroid condition versus just managing some lab values. So why are these things important? Because the things we do on a daily basis, an ongoing basis, whether they're conscious or subconscious, either have a positive influence on our health and well-being and are raising our level of fitness in a whole bunch of different areas of our life, or they're negatively impacting our physiology and creating more negative stress on our physiology. And when we create too much negative stress on our physiology, more than we can adapt to, our body senses danger, and that shifts our physiology from what we call low stress physiology, homeostasis, to allostatic regulation. And once we shift from homeostasis to allostasis, now the body's in a defensive mode. It's in a more inflammatory, immune regulated mode, and our kind of overall physiology, many times the less important systems to cell defense get downregulated. So increased stress on our physiology because of our habits, behaviors, or routines can result in an increased threat perception by our cellular physiology, and that triggers what we call that cell danger response that takes us out of homeostatic regulation into something called allostatic regulation. Rest and digest systems downregulated, guts downregulated, sex hormones downregulated, energy production downregulated. So we get increased inflammation as a result of this. More inflammation, we get an upregulation in the immune system, so we're more likely to have tissue damage and immune response, and sometimes autoimmune conditions. We're going to see this upregulation of our sympathetic nervous system, so we're going to be more anxious, more edgy, more irritable. Our sleep's going to go down. Our digestion is going to be downregulated. Our libido is going to be downregulated. So increased sympathetic nervous system and decreased parasympathetic. So again, if you have decreased parasympathetic, hormones aren't going to regulate well. Digestion is not going to regulate well. You're not going to rest well. You're going to be in the state of heightened edginess and anxiety. We're going to see reduced T4 to T3 conversion, even if you have a healthy thyroid functioning gland, at least temporarily. And then we're also going to probably eventually start to see the development of thyroiditis. As time progresses, what are we going to see? We're going to see glucose resistance. We're going to see fat storage. We're going to see elevated lipid levels. We're going to see decreased renal function, altered adrenal function, menstrual cycles dysregulated, sex hormones dysregulated. We're going to see a lot of different issues and problems develop. We think of those things as the actual problem, but those things are the result of this excessive stress response created many times by our habits and behaviors. Many people come to me and they want to know, okay, which organism is doing this? I think I have mold. I think I have mercury toxicity or this toxicity. And the important part is those things may be the reality of what's maybe contributing to your chronic immune inflammatory thyroiditis or underconversion of your thyroid hormone. But many times the thing that's not addressed is the habits, the behaviors, the lifestyle, the routines that we each do on a daily basis. So let me give you an example. This is a patient who I've been working with now for like 4 or 5 months. She's a 55-year-old female, had seen a bunch of practitioners, allopathic practitioners, but had run through a few functional medicine practitioners. When she came to see me, she was on thyroid hormone replacement therapy, both T4 and T3. She was on bioidentical hormones to optimize her testosterone, her estrogen, and progesterone. She was on 14 individual bottles of supplements to help manage her signs and symptoms and optimize her blood labs and her other functional testing, but she still did not feel well. We had her fill out a metabolic assessment form, lots of symptoms, lots of systems not functioning well. And so what did we do? What we really focused on was having her complete what I call our fitness factor questionnaire. In the book, The Thyroid Debacle, that I wrote with Dr. Kelly Haldeman, we had 10 fitness factors in there. I now have 17 fitness factors on my fitness factor questionnaire. And when we looked at her fitness factor questionnaire, she scored a lot of systems really poorly. And so I asked her, like, did you work on some of these things with any of her practitioners? And she hadn't. She'd done gut protocols, she'd done detox protocols, she'd done a bunch of different functional medicine protocols, she tried a bunch of different supplements and medications. But when we looked at her fitness factors and then kind of started looking at some of the big things here, this is a person who didn't engage in any physical training or physical activity on a regular basis. Now, she may have been tired, but we know that there's huge benefits in exercise. And even if you're too tired to do an hour workout class a day, starting with some physical activity and training is one of the best things you can do for your overall health and physiology. Because if you're not doing some type of physical training every day and you're just sitting around all day or laying on the couch and not being physically active, you're losing muscle mass, and that's going to have a big influence. So she had no organized physical training. She had occasionally she would go to the gym and do some things, but it wasn't a habit. It was a periodic behavior. She had no planned nutrition. She didn't plan out her diet, her meals. She didn't really know how many calories she'd eat. She didn't know what her macros should be. And she's just kind of eating by the fly. He's still eating a lot of processed food, even though she'd been through a couple functional practitioners. She had terrible relationships. She was in a bad marriage. She wasn't happy with her marriage. She had some challenges with her kids, some challenges with her in-laws. These are things that need to be addressed. If she's got a lot of relationship stress going on, that's going to impact her brain, her physiology, create that irritability and those danger cues. She was unhappy with her work. She wasn't making enough money, wasn't happy with with the job she was doing. That's contributing to her stress load. She had no regular sleep schedule. She didn't get up at the same time every day. She didn't go to bed at the same time every day. Some days she'd be up really late watching movies or on social media, and then she'd be a mess getting up in the morning, chronically tired, chronically fatigued, which led to more poor choices. Lots of caffeine, lots of sugary drinks to try and keep herself awake. So no regular sleep schedule. And her finances, probably because she didn't like her job, that was probably one aspect, but she had no budget. She didn't know what she needed to spend. She didn't have a budget for savings, a budget for her investment, a budget for retirement. She just didn't have a budget. So all of these things, and there were more, but these are key areas. So all the supplements, all the hormone replacement, all those things weren't going to fix the stress load that these things were creating on her physiology day in, day out, day in, day out. Once we started fixing these things and started improving her physical fitness and her physical activity, we started improving her nutrition. Here's what you're going to eat. Here's how many calories, we want your macro percentage to be. We started talking about our relationships. Is it her? Is it them? Is it a combination? And what are the strategies to put in place to try and improve those? But from a work perspective, if you don't like your job, you either got to change your perception of the job or change your job. And that's not always easy as we want it to be, but that needs to change. Irregular sleep schedule, we got her on a regular sleep schedule, bed at the same time, waking at the same time. Finances, got her to start working on a budget, which then also reduced the stress because now she knew she was saving towards a retirement, okay, which she really didn't have. So just working on these factors and a couple other of the fitness factors, we were able to reduce her supplementation. We were able to reduce the need for thyroid medication, drop that considerably over the time period that we've been working together. Still needs some, but not nearly as much. And her symptoms have improved pretty significantly. So the medication she's getting is actually working. And we're going to be talking about the bioidentical hormones. If she wants them and she needs them, great. But one of the reasons why she needed bioidentical hormones in the first place was because she had high cholesterol and low T3. So she wasn't getting cholesterol into the tissues to make into her hormones that she was going to need, especially into the androgens of the adrenal gland that she's going to need for this second stage of her life. So why is this important? Sometimes we put a lot of attention to optimizing labs. Sometimes we put a lot of time to the shiny object, the mold, the toxin, the organism. And what we don't put enough attention to is what we're doing on a daily basis, what our habits are, what our behaviors are, these small little things that we do day in, day out that actually create more of the excessive stress load. So what can you do? My suggestion is do a 3-day assessment of what your habits and behaviors are. Define what your routine is going to be every day and stick to that. What am I going to do from the time I get up to the time I go to bed? What am I doing on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? Plan out your day, plan out your week. Then at the end of each day, do what I call an after action report. So you set your 3 primary goals for the day. At the end of the day, what did I accomplish? What were my habits? Did I stick to my schedule? Did I stick to what I wanted to do? See what that is. And then number 4, every 3-6 months, you got to review what your goals are. You got to take out the things that aren't important to you, and you got to replace them with new goals, new habits that are going to move you towards your goals. I talk about all these things in the book, The Thyroid Debacle. So pick up your copy today. If you have questions, you can reach out to me and schedule a discovery call. Go to my profile, and you should be able to find the link to schedule a discovery call and see what we can do to help you recover your thyroid physiology. Take care.